I never thought I'd be escorted out of a hospital by security. But there I was, being removed like a threat, while the woman I loved watched through glass doors and did nothing. The worst part? Her twins were crying, reaching for me through the glass, calling my name. And Dr. Evelyn Hart, the woman who let me into her life, into her daughters' lives, just stood there, silent, frozen, watching me leave. I didn't know yet that this wasn't the first time Evelyn had chosen silence over love, or that her silence had already killed someone before. If you've ever loved someone who couldn't choose you publicly, this story is for you. Subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Let me go back to the beginning, back to when I was just Kira Monroe, pediatric art therapist at Mercy General Hospital. Back to when the nurses still looked at me with pity instead of contempt. They thought I was the problem, a distraction, temporary. "She's not family," I heard one say outside the staff lounge. "Dr. Hart doesn't do relationships," another whispered. "This won't last. That woman is just gonna get hurt." They talked about me like I was a phase. Like loving Evelyn was something she'd grow out of once the novelty wore off. They had no idea what Evelyn was really hiding, or why she kept me at arm's length even when we were alone. Here's what they didn't know about me. I've always been the almost chosen, almost kept, almost enough. 3 years ago, I was with someone who loved me in private but introduced me as her friend in public, who held my hand under tables but dropped it the moment anyone looked our way, who said she'd come out when the time was right, but the time was never right. When she finally left, she said I was asking for too much, that I didn't understand the pressure she was under. Maybe she was right. Maybe I don't understand what it's like to have everything to lose, but I understand what it's like to be the secret someone keeps, and I swore I'd never be that person again. That's why I told myself not to fall for a woman who wore walls like armor, a woman like Dr. Evelyn Hart. But before Evelyn, there were others. Women who said they loved me right up until things got difficult. Right up until loving me publicly meant facing questions they didn't want to answer. I was the phase twice in my 20s. The experimentation, the trying something new, before they went back to what was safe and expected. By the time I met Evelyn, I'd built my own walls. I told myself I was done being someone's private joy and public secret. I was done being the woman who waited in the shadows while someone else decided if I was worth the risk. I should have known this story wouldn't end differently. I should have seen the pattern repeating itself the moment I looked into Evelyn's careful, guarded eyes. But I didn't. Or maybe I did, and I fell anyway. Mercy General Hospital wasn't just a hospital. It was an institution. Old money, powerful donors, a pediatric surgery wing that saved hundreds of children every year, and Dr. Evelyn Hart was its star, the youngest head of pediatric surgery in the hospital's history. Untouchable, brilliant, cold. The kind of woman who could save a child's life with steady hands and then deliver the news to parents without a single tear. The kind of woman who never let emotion compromise precision. Everyone respected her. Most people feared her a little. No one really knew her. The hospital's largest donor was the Bennett family. Richard Bennett and his wife had funded the new pediatric wing 5 years ago after their youngest son died in surgery. Not Evelyn's surgery. She'd saved 2 children that day, but couldn't save the third. The Bennetts were traditional, conservative. They believed Evelyn was the perfect doctor, professional, respectable, untainted by scandal. If they ever found out she was gay, they'd pull $15 million in funding. The pediatric wing would close. Dozens of children would lose access to life-saving care. So Evelyn stayed silent, stayed perfect, stayed alone, until me. Loving Evelyn meant stepping into a war I wasn't trained to survive. But I didn't know that yet. I met Evelyn on a Tuesday in the pediatric wing. I was working with a 7-year-old girl recovering from heart surgery, helping her paint her feelings because words weren't enough. Evelyn walked in to check on her patient, and I expected the usual doctor routine: quick assessment, clinical detachment, efficient exit. But she paused, looked at the painting, a messy, beautiful explosion of purple and gold. "That's remarkable," she said quietly, not to me, to the girl. The child beamed. "Do you like it, Dr. Hart?" "I think it's the most honest thing I've seen all week." And then she looked at me, really looked, like she was seeing something she recognized, something she understood. She didn't ask invasive questions, didn't make small talk, just nodded once and left. But something in that look stayed with me. She didn't look at me like someone she needed. She looked at me like someone she trusted, and I didn't even know why yet. After that, we kept running into each other. Late shifts, coffee in the break room at 2 in the morning, quiet conversations about nothing and everything. Evelyn didn't flirt. She didn't charm. She just existed next to me, steady and calm, like we'd been doing this for years. One night, after a particularly brutal surgery, I found her sitting alone in the chapel, not praying, just sitting in the silence. I sat next to her, didn't say anything, didn't ask if she was okay. After 10 minutes, she spoke. "I saved her. The little girl with the heart condition. She's gonna be fine." "That's good." "But I almost didn't. I almost lost her on the table." "But you didn't." She looked at me then, and for the first time, I saw something other than control in her eyes. I saw exhaustion, fear, relief. "How do you do that?" she asked. "Do what?" "Sit with someone without needing them to be anything other than what they are." I didn't have an answer, so I just stayed. A week later, she invited me to coffee outside the hospital, then dinner, then a walk through the city at midnight because neither of us could sleep. We never called it dating. We never defined what we were. But somewhere between the third late-night conversation and the first time she let me hold her hand, I realized I was falling, and she was letting me. Then I met her daughters, Mia and Lily Hart, 6 years old, identical twins with their mother's dark hair and serious eyes. Smart, observant, a little too grown up for their age. Evelyn had adopted them as a single parent 3 years ago, right after her partner died. She never talked about her partner, never explained why she was raising 2 girls alone. Just said, "They needed someone. I needed them." The first time I came over to help with homework, the girls were shy, polite but distant, testing me, but slowly, over weeks of reading bedtime stories and helping with art projects and making terrible pancakes on Saturday mornings, they softened. Lily started saving drawings for me. Mia asked if I'd come to her school play. And Evelyn watched from doorways, watched me with her daughters, watched us become something that looked like a family. She never said it out loud, but I could see it in the way her shoulders relaxed when I was there. The way she smiled when Lily climbed into my lap during movie night. The way she reached for my hand when the girls weren't looking. That's when the twins started changing everything. It happened 5 months in, during a homework session at Evelyn's house. We were sitting at the kitchen table. Lily was working on spelling. Mia was drawing. Evelyn was reviewing patient files in the next room. Then Lily looked up at me, her crayon hovering over the paper. "Kira, why doesn't Mommy Evelyn hold your hand when other people are around?" I froze. Mia stopped drawing. "Yeah, like Auntie Sarah holds Uncle Tom's hand everywhere, but Mommy only holds yours at home." My throat tightened. Well, sometimes grown-ups are private about things. Lily's eyes were too knowing for a 6-year-old. "Is it because you're both girls?" "Lily, because the other lady was a girl too. And Mommy never held her hand in public either." The world stopped. "What other lady?" I asked carefully. Mia looked at her sister, then at me. The one before you. We don't remember her much, but we know Mommy was sad when she left. Really, really sad. Lily nodded. Are you going to leave too? And just like that, I understood. I wasn't just falling for Evelyn. I was falling into someone else's unfinished story, someone else's grief, someone else's pattern of love kept in the shadows until it disappeared. Drop a comment. Would you stay and fight or walk away before you get hurt? Because what comes next will test everything. That night, after the girls were asleep, I finally asked Evelyn the question I'd been avoiding. Who was she? The woman before me? Evelyn's face went carefully blank. The mask she wore at the hospital. The twins told you. They asked if I was going to leave too. Silence. Then quietly. Her name was Rebecca. She poured 2 glasses of wine and sat across from me at the kitchen table. And for the first time since I'd met her, Evelyn Hart let her walls crack. I loved her for 3 years. Privately. She wanted to come out. Wanted to get married. Wanted to exist in daylight. But you didn't. The Bennetts had just lost their son. The hospital was fragile. My career was everything I'd worked for. I asked Rebecca to wait. Just a little longer. Evelyn's hands trembled around her glass. She waited. And then one night, driving home from a friend's house, exhausted from pretending, she fell asleep at the wheel. My breath caught. I got the call at 2 a.m, but I couldn't claim her body as next of kin. Her parents wouldn't let me attend the funeral, because officially, I was just a coworker, a friend. Tears slid down Evelyn's face. She didn't wipe them away. I killed her, Kira. Not the accident. Me. My silence killed her. And then I adopted her daughters, because it was the only way I could keep her alive. The only way I could make it right. She looked at me then, and I saw it. The fear, the guilt, the certainty that she would destroy anyone she loved if she let herself love them out loud. I can't lose you the way I lost her, but I can't risk everything again either. I can't be the reason the hospital closes. I can't be the reason dozens of children lose care. So what are we doing, Evelyn? What is this? I don't know. I just know that when you're here, I can breathe. And when you're gone, I forget how. This time, she wasn't pushing me away because she didn't love me. She was pushing me away because she did. And she was terrified that loving me openly would cost too much. For a while, we pretended it was enough. Stolen moments, private love, a life that existed only behind closed doors. But the cracks were starting to show. The hospital staff noticed. They always do. Whispers in hallways, knowing looks, questions about why Dr. Hart's friend was always around. Then Dr. Marcus Sterling, the hospital director, called Evelyn into his office. I wasn't there, but she told me about it that night. Told me how he'd closed the door and said, "We need to talk about optics." How he'd mentioned the Bennett family, their values, their expectations. How he'd suggested, politely, that Evelyn be more careful about her associations. "They didn't say your name," Evelyn said, voice hollow. "But they meant you." "What did you say?" "Nothing." I said nothing. And I saw it then. The same silence that killed Rebecca. The same fear that kept Evelyn's love locked away where no one could see it. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to scream. But all I felt was tired. "I can't do this," I said quietly. Evelyn's face went pale. "Kira, I can't be the woman you love in secret. I can't teach your daughters that love is something you hide. I can't pretend this is enough." "So what are you saying?" "I'm saying you have to choose. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon. Because I'm not Rebecca. I'm not going to wait until the weight of your silence kills me too." 2 weeks later, everything came to a head. It started with the twins. We were at the park, just the 3 of us. Evelyn was at the hospital. A woman approached, one of the Bennett family, Richard Bennett's daughter-in-law. She recognized the girls from hospital events. "Oh, Dr. Hart's daughters. How lovely. And who's this?" She gestured at me. Mia answered before I could. "This is Kira. She's a family friend," I said quickly. But Lily, sweet, honest Lily, shook her head. "No, she's not. She's Lily," I warned gently. But the damage was done. Mrs. Bennett's eyes narrowed. She smiled politely, said goodbye, and left. I knew what was coming. I could feel it. That night, Evelyn got the call. Emergency board meeting. The Bennetts had raised concerns. Dr. Hart's personal life was becoming a distraction. They wanted assurances that she remained committed to the hospital's values. Evelyn looked at me across the kitchen, phone still in her hand. "I have to go." "I know. Kira, don't. Just do what you have to do." She left, and I stayed with the twins, reading bedtime stories and pretending everything was fine. When Evelyn came home hours later, her face was unreadable. "What happened?" They asked me to choose, the hospital or us, and I told them I needed time to think. My heart shattered. But before I could respond, Lily appeared in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. "Please don't leave, Kira. Please, we need you." Mia was right behind her. "Mommy needs you too, even if she won't say it." Evelyn broke. Completely, utterly broke. She pulled her daughters close, then reached for me. And for the first time in months, she let herself hold me in front of them. Let herself be seen. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." But the hospital had already made its decision. The next morning, security came to escort me out. The board had decided I was a disruption, that my presence compromised Dr. Hart's professionalism. Evelyn could stay, but I had to go, and she let them take me. She stood there, behind glass, and watched me leave. That was 3 days ago. I haven't heard from her since. The twins have called, crying, asking when I'm coming back. I don't have an answer, because I don't know if Evelyn will ever choose me, or if she's already chosen her silence. But this morning, I got a call. "Ms. Monroe, this is Dr. Sterling's office. There's an emergency board meeting this afternoon. Your presence has been requested." I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's closure or something else. But I'm going. Because if Evelyn won't fight for us, maybe I will. The boardroom was exactly what I expected. Expensive wood, leather chairs, Richard Bennett sitting at the head of the table like a king. Evelyn was there, standing at the front, presenting her case, defending her record, her professionalism, her commitment. She looked exhausted, defeated. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I walked in anyway. Every head turned. "Ms. Monroe," Dr. Sterling said sharply, "this is a private meeting." "I know, but if you're going to decide Dr. Hart's future based on me, I should at least be here." Richard Bennett's eyes narrowed. "This isn't about you. It's about whether Dr. Hart can maintain the standards this hospital requires." "You mean whether she can stay closeted?" Silence. "You want to know if Dr. Hart can be trusted to put patients first?" I looked at Evelyn, then back at the board. "Ask the 200 children whose lives she saved. Ask the twins she's raising alone after adopting them from a broken system. Ask me, the woman she pushed away to protect this hospital." Evelyn's eyes widened. I turned to her. "You don't have to do this alone anymore." Then I looked back at Richard Bennett. "Dr. Hart is the best surgeon you have, but she's also a human being who deserves to love openly. If you can't accept that, you don't deserve her." Richard Bennett stood. "If Dr. Hart insists on this lifestyle, the Bennett family will withdraw all funding." "Then do it," Evelyn said. Everyone froze. Evelyn stepped forward, voice steady. "Mr. Bennett, Your family has done incredible things for this hospital. But I won't sacrifice my life for your comfort anymore. She walked to me, took my hand. I'm in a relationship with Kira. If that costs me my position, I understand. But I'm done pretending. Dr. Sterling leaned forward. Dr. Hart, you can have my resignation if you need it, but you don't have my silence anymore. And then she did something I never thought I'd see. She kissed me. Right there, in front of the board, in front of Richard Bennett. When she pulled back, she whispered, "I'm sorry I made you wait." Outside the hospital, Mia and Lily came running. Evelyn's neighbor had brought them when she heard what was happening. They crashed into us sobbing. "Are you staying?" Lily asked, looking up at me. I looked at Evelyn. She smiled. Small, fragile, real. "If you'll have me," I said. "I'm done choosing anything over you." But as we walked away, I saw Dr. Sterling watching from the window, phone in hand. The fight wasn't over. The Bennetts would pull their funding. Evelyn might lose her job. Everything was uncertain, but she chose me. And for the first time, that felt like enough. She didn't promise me forever, but she asked one question as we stood there with her daughters between us. "If I choose you, will you stay?" And I realized I already had my answer. Yes, I'll stay. If this story hit you emotionally, you're not alone. Subscribe to GL Heart Studio for more love stories about people learning to choose each other. New animations every week, because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is love someone out.